Hi, kids. Okay, number 25. Greatest films of all time. The Passion of Joan of Arc from 1928. Directed by Carl Theodor Dreyer. Been on this list before. Um, Starring Renee Jean Falconiti. Um, Renee was a stage actress. I don't think she appeared in film again, not in a lead, anyways. After this film is famous for a number of things: the cinematography, the direction, and her performance. Very much for her performance. I don't know if I mentioned in the previous Dreyer film, but Dreyer wasn't a fan of his actors wearing makeup, and he was a fan of putting the camera right in the actor's face. So, cinematography for this film is done by Rudolf Matt. Rudolf was born in Krakow, so um, European. Obviously, he worked in Europe prior to the wars, where he had to leave. Can you figure out the reason? Um, with Karl Freund, they were contemporaries. Karl Freund, by the way, if you've seen my video in the horror series on Dracula, the 1931 Universal version, he was the cinematographer, or maybe the director of that. Came up with the unchained camera technique. Very popular, famous, influential guy. You should go watch my video for the Dracula. Um, he would work, Rudolph, that is, would work with Dreyer again for Vampire, speaking of horror, in 1932. And then he would come over to the States and work as a cinematographer over here. He worked on Foreign Correspondent with Alfred Hitchcock, because Hitchcock was a fan of that German expressionism. Also, The Pride of the Yankees. He would later go on in his career to be a director in his own right. Directed everything: musicals, comedies, epics, war films, and directed some film noirs like DOA and The Dark Past and Forbidden. I believe Forbidden stars Tony Curtis, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so Passion of Joan of Arc. Dreyer is invited by the French to make a film um, about one of a French figure, and he decides to make it about Joan of Arc. Um, he had seen Renee on stage. I don't know if I mentioned that already in this video, and he thought that he could get something out of her for Joan. So, as I said, there's the close-ups, Dutch angles. Another technique used was they would dig holes in the ground and film the scene from low angles looking up. Something that's influential, done by another film on this list that's in the top 10. We'll mention that later. So it is number 25 on this list. Very influential, obviously. So BFI, I mentioned in the Bicycle Thieves film, the last video for Bicycle Thieves, that the first BFI Sight and Sound poll was in 1952. Bicycle Thieves was number one in that. This film was number 7 in 52. And then it's not in the top 10 in 62. And number 10 in 1972 on the critics list, number 6 on the director's list. And then it's absent from the top 10 again until 1992. It is number 9. In 2002, it was number 15 on the critics list. 2012 was number 9 on the critics list. 2022, just last year, was number 21 on the critics list, number 30 on the director's list, and on Metacritic, according to the critics, it is number 28. So, those are the reasons this film is number 25 on this list. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe.